Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is the 6th of the 11th, 2024. The time is 5 minutes past 10, and there is one F1 thread at which we need to pull on this morning, and that has a name. Its name is Gabriel Bortoleto. He is signed for Saudi, soon to become Audi, on a multi-year deal. Oh, the humanity. And there are ramifications now. What's going on with Bottas? Where is Zhou Guanyu going? Well, we can answer those off the bat. Right, Gonzo, nowhere to be seen. Bottas potentially at Mercedes as a reserve driver. Him being a steed, being managed by one Toto, the boy who cries wolf. Zhou Guanyu, however, will be out on his Jack Jones on a limb. Nowhere to be seen, notwithstanding the not insubstantial sponsorship that he brings to a team by virtue of Chinese financial backers. Oh, the humanity. Let's talk about Bortoleto, though. I'm going to read you out Benson's article, because for the avoidance of doubt, all F1 publications are created equally, but some, they say, are created more equal than others. Andrew Benson of the BBC writes, Sauber signed rookie Bortoleto for 2025. And I would disagree with that headline. It's not Sauber, it's Audi. If indeed we're talking multi-year deals, then you may as well give the proper nomenclature. Or am I lying? Sauber even, soon to become Audi, although there is juxtaposition and rancor and uncertainty around that, isn't there? Because Mattia Binotto has already said that Sauber aren't where he thought they would be. And as far as support of key stakeholders, head honchos at Audi, most of them have left, the ones that pioneered the F1 program in the first instance. But I digress. Maybe that's another conversation for another day. Andrew Benson writes, Brazilian Gabriel Bortoleto has signed to drive the Audi-owned Sauber team next year. The 20-year-old, who is currently leading the F2 Championship, will partner German veteran Nico Hülkenberg. And it sounds quite nice, that Hulk and Bortoleto. This dude's leading F2 for the avoidance of doubt. And if you think that he's just an average rookie, that potentially he doesn't have the marbles requisite to win himself races and potentially F1 championships one day, you only need look at Monza this year. Again, a feature race, and that dude made his way from last to first. That's got to mean something, go. That has to stand for something if we're looking at green shoots, potential signs of life as far as champions in F1 going forward. Benson continues, this decision, by extension, means that Sauber current drivers Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu will not be in F1 next season, for this is a piranha tank. Shout out Ron Dennis. Underperformance shall not be tolerated unless, of course, your name is one Checo Perez, aka the Mexican Minister of Defense. Sauber Chief Operating and Technical Officer Mattia Binotto said it had been a straightforward decision with no doubts at all. Well, that's not quite true, is it, Mattia Binotto? Because, word on the F1 curb, if Zach Brown is to be believed, Bortoleto is currently a McLaren junior driver and they didn't want to let him go. There is rancor and friction around the corner as far as Messrs Piastri and Norris. You've seen it already. They hesitated all season long to a fault about effecting team orders, costing Lando Norris a true shot at becoming Drivers' Championship in 2024. Why? Because one of them will leave. Red Bull are sniffing around Oscar Piastri with a view to have him replace Checo Perez. And so you've got to balance. You've got to understand, meet each of their stakeholders and expectations, therefore, respectively. And that's why McLaren didn't want to let Bortoleto go. Loan him out potentially, but Audi weren't keen on a loan deal. They were only interested in long term as far as getting this dude on board. Binotto, though, in stark contrast to all of the evidence on display, Binotto says that it was a very straightforward deal. The team chose Bortoleto because they had been impressed by his career thus far. It's the promise of unfulfilled potential why they're buying into Gabriel Bortoleto PLC, is it not? The team chose Bortoleto because they've been impressed. Bortoleto was champion in F3 in his debut season and potentially will be champion of F2 in his debut season as well. And that puts him in hallowed territory. Rarefied air, therefore, alongside Charles Leclerc and Mr. George Russell of Kings Lynn, Norfolk. Ergo, his promise, that unfulfilled potential is sky high. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Audi as a group are investing in him. But the Audi naysayers will say that this might be a bad move for Gabriel Bortoleto, because Audi do not, as at the time of writing, have their ducks in a row. They are all over the shop. We all know that success in Formula One is, of course, by dint of having your factory, your wind tunnel set up in the right place. All of the champions, as near as makes no difference, are based out of Middle England. So why then do Audi have a factory in Cologne? This makes no sense. This isn't the way an F1 team, or at least an F1 championship winning team, operates if past is prologue. Bortoleto, continues Andrew Brenton of the BBC, is managed by two-time champion Fernando Alonso and has been part of the McLaren driver development program, as aforementioned. I've been asking to some drivers who have been driving with you, and everybody was impressed, but also he's very young. For our journey to the Audi F1 team, growing together with a young driver was very important. Blah, blah, blah. Binotto, who was Ferrari team principal between 2019 and 2022, said last month turning Sauber into a winning team under the Audi name was not only climbing a big mountain, it's like climbing Mount Everest. He said in a video released by Sauber on Wednesday, it will take a few seasons to become competitive. Our objective, however, will be aiming to fight for a championship as soon as 2030. Oh, the humanity. It feels like, in that sense, Gabriel Bortoleto is a placeholder, therefore. It's 2024, ladies and gentlemen. Bortoleto, therefore, won't win a race or a championship before 2030. What are we doing? But listen, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. And if you're a young driver, then surely, if you harbour aspirations to be in F1, that deal is a deal worth taking. Bottas, however, done. Gonzo. Potentially his next move will be to go over to Mercedes, his team of old, reuniting with his manager, the Toto, the boy who cried wolf. And that would be a good move for Valtteri. They could do with some test drivers over there with a view to recapture former glories, reclimb the successful Mount Everest that is F1 races, winning them and championships. Bottas could help them do that. As of Zhou Guanyu, nobody knows. He'll go and drive another Formula potentially. But what does this mean for the grid going forward? And this, ladies and gents, is where it gets interesting, because I think we have ourselves a full-formed grid now for 2025, do we not? Here's how it was looking before. Of course, you've got the Red Bull boys in situ, but we'll come to that in a second. Verstappen and Checo Perez, the Mercedes bods, George Russell and rookie Kimi Antonelli, Leclerc and Hamilton for Ferrari. The McLaren boys aren't going anywhere. Where it gets interesting, though, look at RB Visa Cash App. Up until recently, it was just Yuki Tsunoda that was guaranteed, and the same for Sauber, Kick, soon to become Audi. Now, however, on this news, we have ourselves two new heads in position. Bortoleto for Saudi, Kick, Alba, soon to be Audi. And then we also have ourselves one Liam Lawson in situ. However, I would contend that there is an additional change that needs to be made if we're talking about 2025 and the F1 lineup. You see who I've replaced Checo Perez with? Franco Colapinto, potentially, if word on the F1 curb is to be believed. And there is another one, another twist I think that could potentially happen. Switch out Franco Colapinto at Red Bull for one Carlos Sainz. Potentially Williams will hold on to their young charismatic star. And again, it feels like Latin America, Central and South America is on the up and up as far as growth markets. Lest we forget that Gabriel Bortoleto, Brazilian chap, Colapinto, Argentine. What are we doing here, ladies and gents? If there were a growth market, a territory in which you wanted to be invested going forward as far as Formula One is concerned, it would be South America then. Carlos Slim has said that he wants to lift and drop the sponsorship whenever Checo Perez finally goes off into the distance and seeks pastures anew. Carlos Slim, the financier, will lift and drop all of those dollars, 20 million of, and place them at the Franco Colapinto door. Potentially Bortoleto, being a Brazilian, might get some of those too. Oh, the humanity going forward. It's nothing but excitement. It is a breath of fresh air for all of F1. Brand new, 6 rookies on the grid as at 2025, one of whom is Gabriel Bortoleto, man soon hopefully to become F2 champion and potentially F1 champ going forward. Oh, the humanity.